When Jacques Cousteau came to Easter Island, he performed several important investigations. One was diving around the island searching for statues and other possible artifacts in the ocean. The presence of statues in the ocean, he believed, would prove the theory that the statues had been moved around the island using rafts. He found none. The only unusual feature he discovered were underwater tunnels, which he theorized to be volcanic in origin. He mentions that the oldest carbon date on the island is 690 AD at a well-developed site, indicating actual habitation must be older. He also noted the songs of the island were reminiscent of the epic songs of India and China, and that the islanders practiced cremation of the dead until wood became too scarce. Other ancient cultures that cremated the dead were Hindus, Atenists of Egypt, and Nestorian Christians. The next morning, our group took the hotel van to the famous stone ruins of Vinapu, at the end of the airport's huge airstrip, built long enough to land the space shuttle in case of an emergency. The Vinapu site to me is a key clue in unraveling the mystery of Easter Island. Vinapu consists of a partially destroyed wall with megalithic construction that is basically unique to the island, but not unique in the world. The main wall consists of enormous slabs very skillfully laid. I stood in front of the wall and was genuinely amazed at the construction, which was not just similar, but identical to that at Cusco, Machu Picchu, Sacsayhuaman and Ollantaytambo in the high Andes of Peru. Like those constructions, the wall at Vinapu is perfectly fitted together with irregularly shaped stones, and has rounded edges, and small triangular stones filling in gaps. One would describe the construction in the Andes the same way: polygonal blocks that were smoothed and rounded, perfectly cut and fitted together, with small keystones placed in the wall to help make it earthquake-proof. It is the most sophisticated construction technique in the world, essentially unduplicated today. It is often said that the construction at Vinapu is identical to that of Tiwanaku, although Tiwanaku lacks the pillowed walls, which are mainly found around Cusco. However, pillowed or rounded walls can be found at the ruins of Silistani and Cutimbo, both on mesas, flat-topped mountains near Lake Titicaca, which are usually said to be of Tiwanaku origin. Probably the confusion arises from the general consensus that Tiwanaku is a pre-Incan construction and is thousands of years old. The massive ruins found in Peru, many in the vicinity of Cusco, a still living city, are usually said by academics to have been built by the Incas a few hundred years ago. That the ruins at Vinapu on Easter Island are identical in construction then raises the unlikely notion that the Incas built the platform. The answer is simpler than might be thought. While the Incas did indeed construct large cities and were excellent stonemasons, their construction is with small rectangular blocks that are perfectly fitted together. This construction can be seen in Cusco and elsewhere on top of the earlier and larger, polygonal construction. The construction, therefore, that I am speaking about, found at Easter Island in the Peruvian Andes around Cusco, both places called the navel of the world, coincidentally, are apparently built by the same mysterious people and are pre-Incan. Considering the lichen growth on the wall at Vinapu, I would venture to say they lived thousands of years ago. The Incas undoubtedly inhabited those ancient cities high in the Andes. They are still inhabited today, but not by the Incas. Construction of this type is so solid it will easily outlast most empires and civilizations. When a wandering culture happens to discover the gigantic walls of an uninhabited city still standing, it seems only natural to move in, put a roof over the structures, and call them home. This, say many archaeologists, especially Peruvian ones, is what happened with the Incas. The many phases of construction are obvious, and the most superior is the oldest. I walked around the wall and examined the construction. It was not until I had looked at each block carefully that I noticed something that confirmed my suspicions about the builders of this wonderful, ancient structure. At Ollantaytambo, Silistani, Cusco and other sites in the Andes, many of the large polygonal blocks have strange knobs on them, the function of which has never been understood. Here, on the southeast corner of the wall was a knob, just like the ones in the Andes. The corner, too, was rounded, and in fact, so was the entire face of the wall, again just like in the Andes. The upper levels of the platform and a portion of the center had been torn down. It was obvious that it had been used as a moai platform at one time, and one moai was toppled over on the top. The stones around the statue were of cruder construction, identical to that on the rest of the island. I concluded, as I sat in the grass and looked at the wall, that it was much older than the rest of the platforms on the island, and was not originally constructed to be an ahu platform for a moai. What then was its purpose? I surmised that Vinapu was part of the original purpose of Easter Island, along with the gigantic statues in Reino Raraku and the ceremonial site there. The other moais and platforms were built later, possibly in an effort to call back the ancients who had abandoned the island, or just to protect the island as legends said. I thought back at the legends of Atlantis and the Rama Empire. Rongo writing has been shown to be identical to Indus Valley writing found at the ancient Rama Empire cities of Mohenjo-Daro, Harappa, and Lathal. The ancient city of Dwarka, where Krishna is said to be from, is underwater off the coast of Gujarat. The Rapa Nui legends share with Sanskrit the same word for mental powers, mana. Meanwhile, we have the tales of fantastic battles, flying machines, and a technology and culture that, in some ways, surpasses our own. Just as we do today, these cultures had the ability to travel all over the world, by air and by sea. It seems likely, therefore, that they did so. The manas were said to take off and land vertically, as a hovercraft, zeppelin, or flying saucer might. Whether this is true, I do not know. However, the thought of a worldwide network of Vimana landing pads stretching from ancient India to the massive platform of Baalbek in Lebanon, here are found the largest cut blocks of stone in the world, estimated to weigh 1,000 tons or more, to Abydos in Egypt, to Sacsayhuaman in Peru, to, dare I say, Easter Island. Could the platform at Vinapu be what is left of an ancient Vimana landing pad? The idea seemed incredible. The wall even faces Peru.